Hey everybody, Nate the Gamer here, and today I'm going to be talking about a game called Sega Genesis Classics. This is a compilation game of Sega's greatest hits, and it was released on PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. Today's review is going to be based on the Nintendo Switch version, with some things about the PC version. So without any further ado, let's just jump right in. So in this compilation, you get 50 classic games. These all vary in genre. There's platformers, RPGs, and puzzle games. As for the game selection, I do find it pretty decent. I like the fact that there's a lot of titles from Treasure, that being Gunstar Heroes, Dynamite Headdy, and Alien Soldier, which wasn't originally released in the US. I also do appreciate that there's a lot of Sega first-party titles, including Streets of Rage, Vector Man, and Kid Chameleon. However, things start to get a little weird once you look at the Sonic games. Sonic 3 and Sonic & Knuckles are both missing from the list. One of the rumors out there is because of the game's composer. Now, if you don't know this fact, which to be honest I think everyone does at this point, Michael Jackson composed most of the music in Sonic 3. And considering the fact that Michael is no longer with us, Sega must have run into some problem with his estate. And it's a shame too, because Sonic 3 is one of the better games, not to mention that it was one of the most highest selling games on the Genesis. Along with that, there are a couple games I'm confused on why they're even on the list in the first place. There's Galaxy Force 2, which is a choppy and slow port of the arcade game. Super Thunderblade, pretty much the same thing I said about Galaxy Force 2 applies here. Virtua Fighter 2, which is a very watered down port of the Saturn and arcade game. Seriously, did they not know that Eternal Champions is a thing? And Sonic Spinball. Sonic Spinball is like that one cousin you don't want invited to your family reunion, but your parents do anyways because they're family. Just because Sonic Spinball is a Sonic game does not automatically mean it's a classic. However, this issue only persists if you have the console version. For the PC version, you have to buy all the games separately. Depending on what game it is, it can range from either $1 to $5. I honestly prefer this model more, mostly because you're able to personalize your collection to games that you actually like. Not to mention that Sonic 3 and Knuckles is still purchasable on Steam. However, if you don't want to buy your game separately, there is a bundle out there. It has all of the games found on consoles, plus some of the ones you would expect to be there like Sonic 3 and Knuckles, for about the same price as the console versions. As for the emulation of the games, they are completely fine. The games play as they would on a Sega Genesis. However, the one complaint I do have has to do with the sound quality. You see, specific games like Comix Zone were composed using a program called GEMS. This program is known for not agreeing with certain emulators, and for some reason, this emulator has problems with certain games, including Comix Zone. You'll be able to tell if there's an emulation issue if you hear a high-pitched ding sound. Kind of unfortunate that this compilation has emulation issues, considering that it's an official release from Sega. However, to be fair, they did license those at-Games products, so maybe it's just a curse, I don't know. As for the other features in this compilation, there's a fast forward and rewind mode, different filters, different border types, a mirror mode that mirrors both the game visuals and the controls, save states, online multiplayer if the game supports it, and exclusively for PC, there's a virtual reality mode that gives you a humongous screen to play Genesis games on, and my personal favorite, mods. Utilizing the Steam Workshop, you can pick up mods for specific Genesis titles. This includes fixing the difficulty of certain games, ROM hacks that either replace certain sprites or give you a whole new experience using the same engine, or just straight up piracy. For some reason, the Steam Workshop is full of actual Sega Genesis games, ones you can't buy on Steam. While this is a cool feature, you need specific games in order for those mods to work, including those totally legal ROMs. As for the presentation, I can see what the developers were trying to do. They were trying to present the games in a teenager-style bedroom from the 90s. Visually on PC, it looks nice, with some shading and some nice textures. However, if you go to the console side of things, specifically the Nintendo Switch, it looks very low res. I understand what they were trying to do here, but to be honest, the menu is kind of clunky. You have to go to the shelf, select your game, watch the cartridge be inserted into the console, and have the power switched on. This is 100% unnecessary, and to my knowledge for consoles, you can't skip this feature. With older Sega Genesis compilations like Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection, you just selected your game and you were instantly in there. At least for PC, you have the option to use a simplistic menu. However, you can't mess around with filters or use mods. So in conclusion, do I recommend the Sega Genesis Classics? For console, I recommend you just wait for a sale. The game selection on there, while decent with a lot of treasure representation, feels a little weird. It has everything that you would expect from a Genesis collection, except for one title that really tied everything together. As for the PC version, I completely recommend it. The fact that you can build your own collection allows you to personalize your collection without any fluff in between. Also, the option for mods is pretty cool. Just remember remember to buy a USB controller, because playing Genesis games with a keyboard kinda sucks. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. If you guys are new and you've enjoyed what you've seen, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to follow me on Twitter to see what I'm doing outside of YouTube, along with updates to the channel. Out of curiosity, what kind of video game console compilation do you want to see? Personally, I'd like to see a compilation based on the Sega Master System, mostly because I felt like there were a lot of great games on the console. However, not a lot of people know about it, mostly because it was overshadowed by the NES. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. Anyways, I'm Nate the Gamer, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.